What's up, everyone? It is Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to the channel. I am very excited to introduce to you my guest for today because he is a legend, an icon in the world of professional wrestling. Many would say the GOAT, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. Hello, Shawn. How are you?
I'm doing great, Denise. Thank you very much for the very nice introduction. It's very
Oh
sweet.
my God, of course. I was thinking to myself, I was like, I'm going to have Shawn Michaels as a guest. How on earth do I introduce Shawn Michaels, who literally has had a hell of a career?
Well, it's yeah, it wasn't. I'm very proud of it. So it's, no complaints on my part.
Yeah, definitely not. So, Shawn, we do have a lot to get into, but before we kind of go into the wrestling side of things, I do want to ask you how you're doing today. We're pretty much on the crisp of the holidays. I'm sure you're getting ready to kind of, go and enjoy with your family and whatnot.
Yeah, well, obviously I have one more day of work today. We want to make sure we get everything shored up for next Tuesday's show. But then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, it'd be nice to have a whole 3 days to hang out with my family. I haven't had that in quite some time. So for me, the holidays is all about eating and getting chubby for a couple days.
You can't, and nobody can judge you. You put on those extra holiday pounds. It's okay. We're all doing it. We're all doing it together. I love that. So Shawn, so let's go ahead and jump right into the world of, WWE and NXT, because lately we have been seeing this massive change in the direction that we are seeing NXT going in. No longer are we in the black and gold era, but now we're into, NXT 2.0. So I kind of want to start off by, talking about that because you, as a coach, you've been a coach now at the PC for a couple of years now. What was your initial thoughts on the change that we were going to be seeing in NXT 2.0?
Well, look, I think the biggest thing was that I didn't know I was going to be the one having to do everything. I was going to hopefully assist Hunter, and obviously just put into place what it was that he wanted us to put it into place. I mean, we were all. It sort of came a bit quick, obviously unexpected, but it's no different really for the last 35 years I've been with the WWE. When we make a decision, they make a decision. It's done. It's quick. Let's get it. They're so efficient. They're so quick. And they just don't sit and wait around. And so I think that was probably the biggest adjustment. Was okay. This is I think we had probably 3 weeks, and we didn't have a whole lot of information. And by the time we got the information, it was coming down to the last week, and we went ahead and applied everything that we could clearly. And it's fun. It's a nervous excitement. You don't really know what to expect, but you're looking at something that you don't really. There's no roadmap to doing it, so you have to try to figure it out. And I don't know. I still enjoy that kind of stuff. Again, Hunter and I are, we're still guys that, much like in the DX days, we went out there not having any idea what we were going to do. We were just going to go out there and have fun and enjoy doing it. And that's how this, kind of started from the get-go. But it would have been a lot easier had he been here the entire time to assist. That's for sure.
And I'm sure he's only like aching to get back, like excited. Like, how many times has he been calling you saying, like, hey, what's going on, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, well, look, most of it is me bothering him, to be perfectly honest. I think, look, I'll say this. I know, he has worked so much over the last several years, and I don't think he understood it. It becomes your normal, and for him to step away for a little bit, look, that takes getting used to. I went through it, obviously. I think I'm one of the very rare people that was ready to do it and embraced it. But when it just happens out of the blue and you're not expecting it, for him to go from 100 miles an hour to nothing was an adjustment. And so, but I think he's, again, especially around this time of year, he's now starting to realize, like, hey, this isn't too bad. And so, look, I think he's bordering on enjoying himself now, to be perfectly honest. And look, it's a well-deserved break for him for sure.
Yeah, especially because, he really was the person that brought forth this, black and gold era of NXT and really made it special. So it's going to be very exciting, once he's back and ready to essentially go and whatnot. So let's kind of go back to, NXT, because we mentioned the direction that we're heading in and how you're kind of, doing so much, really not expecting to be the one that was kind of, doing a lot of the heavy work for it. So I do want to ask you, given now the direction that NXT is going, it's sort of started to shape up, especially if you've been watching each and every single week. You're starting to see NXT 2.0 really become its own thing, really develop. So for you, what's been like the biggest challenge? And I know you mentioned kind of doing this, without Hunter, but what has been one of the biggest challenge in sort of getting NXT 2.0 up and running, especially because it is such a dramatic change from the prior NXT?
Well, look, I think it's dealing with the reaction from that change. To be perfectly honest, I mean it's like ripping a band-aid off. It was very sudden. And that to your fan base, that's very tough. And it's like anything, change isn't easy. When you get something again, it becomes your normal. You're comfortable with it, and then there's an abrupt change. Um, that's difficult. It's very difficult for your faithful. And to be perfectly honest, for me, that was the hardest part is, wanting to at least let your fan base know, no, we're going to do everything we can to make this your NXT again. It's just we're having to do it all over and different. And look, and I will say, I have to be honest. I think a lot of the blowback is also because I feel like people are angry. People are
Right.
angry, at us sometimes, and there's not much we can do about that. And I understand that. It's a very emotional, relational type uh, business, and we have that sincerity. I think with our fan base, there is a closeness there, and you get comfortable with things the way they are. And then going about a change that you're not prepared for, you don't know if you like it. You have a tendency to, I think they took it out on, they don't mean to, but you take it out sort of on the brand, and of course then all the new and young talent and superstars, and they're just sitting there going like, hey, we just want we just want to be in this line of work too. Is that so bad? So honestly, I think that was the hardest thing is having to help everybody through that. To be perfectly honest, I guess that's the one thing that I've had a lot of people saying bad stuff about me for a long time. But for this brand to have to go through that was new. And I think that was the one thing that I think at least having me, steering the boat in that respect is something that I could help everybody understand, not take it personally, and know that after a while, again, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of this fan base, the WWE universe, for a long time. And they just want to know that they can count on you. And again, that once again, you will try to take pride in the product, go out there and give them the best. And that's what these young men and women are doing now. And I think as you see about 10 to 12 weeks in, they're starting to understand and embrace these new young men and women and understand like, okay, they're the same as we were. They're passionate about it. They love it. They want to be good at it. They weren't the ones that set the rules or any of this in place. They're just the ones that are looking to, achieve their dreams. And I think the fans are starting to understand that. They're starting to embrace that, appreciate that, and also being able to see that, oh my goodness, I can now be a part of these people's careers, lives, and journeys, just like I was for, again, Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. And so again, I think they're starting to understand that that abrupt change was a little rough at first, but it's settling in now. And it really is at the heart. It's still the same people behind the scenes that care about giving our fan base, the best we can give them.
And I really think it's honestly a testament to what you guys did, both you and Hunter and, everybody that was a part of the black and gold era. It's like because of what you guys did, you guys created such a passionate and strong fan base for this black and gold era of NXT, which is why I think a lot of fans had a hard time letting go because it really set the bar, really set the tone for, the kind of matches that you could expect in WWE. I mean, when you look at so many different, months when you had WWE pay-per-views, but you also had takeovers on the same weekend, people were like, we're here for the takeovers. And a lot of those times, the takeovers really were, sort of outshining some of the main roster stuff that we were seeing. So I feel like that is, a testament to what you guys did and how you guys essentially launched off this brand of NXT.
For sure. Look, and people knew it's personal to us. It was personal. It's relational. Yeah, I guess it's a business, but that is never Hunter and I's first priority. We do this because we love it, and again, I think our fan base understood that. I think they were a bit worried that was going to be gone, and I think I'm hoping anyway that they understand like it's all still there. We're the same people doing it, and again, whether it's Braun, Tony, again. All the ladies of Toxic Attraction, they're all just as passionate, just as hungry as Kevin and Seth were back in the day. It's the same place. We're just trying to, they're just having to start over at zero. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then sometimes that's tough.
So let's talk about that because that is one of the interesting things and especially you as a coach, you see this firsthand. You see the talent come into the PC and you're seeing different types of talent coming in. You're seeing talent with little to none experience, maybe just a little bit, or, some being a little bit more advanced. And we're also seeing, we just heard the class introduction of the next in line program, the NIL class. We just got the announcement of that. So as the person who's seen the talent come in and you're getting people of different backgrounds, different sizes, as a coach, what are the pros and cons of getting, this vast variety of different talent, again, coming in with different levels of pro wrestling experience?
Well, so look, because I've now stepped out of the physical coaching aspect and into the vice president of whatever talent development and focusing more on television, the live show and creative. But the thing is, so that pool has gotten very big. To me, the biggest advantage to all of that is the freshness, is the newness, is being able to now have people. When I went from a tag team to a singles competitor, I was sort of allowed, I wasn't given a cookie cutter, this is your character, this is what you're going to do. I was able to have some time to find the Heartbreak Kid. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I had an opportunity to evolve into this character and make it mine. And that's the one thing we're allowed to do now with these new athletes coming in is have time to sit down, to talk with them, to find out, again, to get their insight. It really is a collaboration. It's one of those things where it's all the stuff that I feel like people loved about NXT is that we're not forcing things on people. We're having them find it themselves. We're helping them. Again, I go back to Tony D. That was very much. It was one of those things where we ask him a few questions, we find out his background, and then of course we think like, oh my goodness, this is a great idea, and he's like, oh, I love that. So again, it is, and that's the one thing that's great about this is being able to do that and having the time to do that. So we've really got a nice little system, a nice little organization going on to where we're allowed to go through these different steps. But look, of course, then it comes to getting them ready, in-ring ready. And sometimes it's trial by fire. I have to be honest. But the fact that they're former athletes that have been challenged before, that have to worry about discipline, focus, going in there on game time, pressure situations, that is something that at least they come into the WWE having done a little bit. Again, having to run a 2-minute drill at the end of a football game. Again, being down points in a wrestling match. Having to come back. Having to be composed under pressure. Even at a young age, they've had opportunities doing that. So it's amazing how disciplined and focused they can be. And the athlete in them doesn't like to fail. And that's, again, something that's I don't know, works for, again, people like Hunter and I, because we're pretty, we're sort of the same way. I mean, we like being put in the toughest spot possible and seeing if we can succeed. And so, like you said, that's where, again, there's a very being on the same level with our talent now. Again, all the things that NXT has always had in the past, it's just with a new breed of superstar now.
And that was cool. That's the thing, because you mentioned like the athleticism that these athletes have, even if they don't necessarily come from a pro wrestling background. Because I got to get a good preview, or like get to watch a little bit of the tryouts that they had over SummerSlam weekend, and I was kind of just watching everything that the talent was doing, and I was just thinking, like, my God, it is pretty intense to see them, go out there and do all of these things, and then getting to hear Hunter talk about it afterwards, and him basically saying, like 90% of the people that you saw here today, this was about their first time stepping into the ring. I just thought it was kind of like phenomenal to, get to see that. And we're starting to see, some of those faces, appear on NXT, and we've gone into, that's the thing about NXT 2.0. We've been introduced to a lot of new people. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is, we've seen guys like the Creed brothers, Carmelo Hayes, Bron Breakker, Grayson Waller. So with all of, these new crops of talents, for you, who have been some of the talents where you're just like, my God, they really stepped up, and it's been really exciting to sort of see how they've shined through?
Honestly, the people that you've mentioned, of course, Braun, Tony, our War Games guys, Carmelo and Grayson, the guys that we threw into the deep end right away, and have performed so well. And of course, look, it's a huge testament to our 1.0ers. They have been faithful, they've been patient, they've been understanding, but at the same time, those young talents have gone out there and done an amazing job. Gigi and JC being, again, thrust into a very, prominent role right away. And those were two girls that, as soon as they came in, and yes, they had some experience, but I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. And it was just a matter of being able to find the right person. And then all of a sudden, Mandy became available, and it's like, ooh, I got it. And so, again, that's been, again, they feel that passion. They know that I'm, getting into this stuff. They know Hunter's behind it. But again, Braun and Tony have done phenomenal. The Creed brothers, those boys are absolutely, just the bad. They're bad, and they're all bad. They are just legit bad dudes. But to have them come back and be so excited, hugging you and being so jazzed about what they're doing out there at such an early time, it's infectious. And so again, we're having more and more of those people coming along, and it really is. It's when it's that fun for them, it's fun for us as well. Even if it doesn't go perfectly, they're doing such an amazing job. Again, at 5, you're talking 5. Tony D'Angelo, he's probably had 6 matches, live on television. Everything else has been reps in the warehouse. That's staggering to be in a main event, to have to understand commercial breaks and at the end of the show and going off. It's just, that is a lot to put on young men and women, and they're doing it because, again, they rise to the challenge. They like that pressure situation because that's what they got into sports for, and we're getting to do it in this line of work. And so they dig that challenge, and it's great to watch them, learn and grow in this aspect.
I think that's going to be like the cool thing, especially, for those that watch every week. Because even just like, obviously I cover the product every single week, and I've seen the growth with, so many of those individuals that we've been seeing on the show. And it's been like kind of crazy to, kind of see where they, started and, kind of just like within a couple of weeks really develop. But one of the persons that I do want to talk about, so let's get into New Year's Evil, because that's taking place January 4th. And we got our main event matchup, Tommaso Ciampa defending his title against Bron Breakker. Breakker. Now, I do want to get into this because you mentioned kind of, trial by fire and kind of throwing people in there and seeing what they can do. Bron Breakker, I can say, is one of the guys that, has been, thrown in there and, put into this main event picture. And so I kind of want to get an idea, aside from his lineage, what is it that you guys saw in Bron Breakker that basically said, this is the guy that we are going to be putting into this main event picture to possibly be the face of NXT 2.0?
Well, it's his energy. Again, look, all of that. I think one would have to it'd be a safe argument to say that everything that we could see about him that worked is a direct result of that lineage, because he's a wonderful combination of his dad and his uncle. But again, but a purity there. He's still an innocent, excited, enthusiastic young man, and that energy again is infectious. And so, and again, there is believability. He's not playing a part. He's being who he is. Again, I have been literally crushed by that young man coming back, and hugging me in the back, because he is really excited and just enthused about doing this. And so, look, I don't know, it's just off the charts, but it all comes, I think, from family, you know what I mean? And look, I think they've also, I'm just speculating, but I think they've, helped him to understand, like, look, this could be, if you're smart, this could be an unbelievable life, have a real future for yourself and, the family that you might want to have, all of those things, and understands that it's, right here before him. And he, at the same time, while he's being fun and excited and enjoying what he's doing, I think he understands that at the same time he's a professional, and he wants to, he's an athlete that wants to be good at the job he chose to do. And so he really does put in the time to not just rest on his laurels. I mean, let's face it, I think at this point he could easily coast, or not try as hard. But instead, he takes the responsibility of trying, to understand that I appreciate this role you guys are putting me in. I want to make the most of it, and I want more, down the line. And again, that is something that also is a testament to the guys that he's working with. He's trying to lead in that locker room as well. And I think that's a fantastic thing. And that comes from guys like Pete Dunne, Tommaso Ciampa, telling him about that as he's going on this journey.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to see him like mixed in there with Tommaso Ciampa, who's like a legitimate like badass. So it's been really cool. And then also Bron Breakker, he has the likability factor where people want to root for him. They want to see this like star, unfold, explode right before their eyes. So I think that's one of the cool things about Bron Breakker. One of the other matches that we're seeing on New Year's Evil is the triple threat women's match: Cora Jade, Mandy Rose, Raquel Gonzalez. I kind of want to get your thoughts on, how you feel the NXT women's division side of things is sort of, developing.
Yeah, well, look, as I think everybody knows, we believe, and I think pretty comfortably, that we've got we've had the greatest women's division in a long time. And look, and I think the women that you see on Raw and SmackDown, clearly the majority of them are NXT, and they're unbelievably talented. And I think it's going to continue well into the future. Because again, we've got people like Io, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. They're going to be, passing it towards Kaylee Ray, again, to these people like Cora and, the Tiffany Strattons that will come in, and, the Gigi Dolans and JC Janes that are going to continue to get better, being with the best women, wrestlers, workers, whatever it is you want to call them, in the wrestling business. And you can only get better being around people that are better than you. And I think for a long time, that was one of the things. So as good as the Black and Gold brand was, there was also, right now, there's a lot of out there in the world, it's young on young. You're not in the ring with people so much better than you. That's one of the things we're able to do here in 2.0, which is, again, the same way that I started and learned, and Hunter learned, and Taker and Steve. We were all in the ring with people who were better than us. and that could lift us up. And now we're doing it in real time. We're doing it on live TV in front of you. But you really are seeing right there firsthand the development of young men and women, and in this case, our women develop with, you're seeing the stars of tomorrow with the stars of today, and that is something that hasn't been consistent in the wrestling business for a long time, because there were so many young talents just working with each other out on the indie scene. And I don't mean that to hurt or in any way discredit the indie scene, but it was really difficult when you don't have a veteran in there that knows what they're doing.
Right, right. And now I do want to ask you, because we mentioned, the veterans and, all of that. So, I want to ask, because it was kind of a bittersweet moment. I'm sure you've obviously felt it, given your relationship with these guys. But, we recently said goodbye to Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. And I want to get your idea in the sense of, now we're seeing them, go and do different things, go to other places. What has that been like for you to kind of have to say, goodbye to these people?
Yeah, well, we still keep in contact, but it's bittersweet. Those young men were a big part of my life. Look, they're a lot of the reason that I sort of got back into sort of this line of work. I was happily retired, but again, when it came to Johnny and Tommaso, Adam, those guys, even way back, that the Revival Boys, Sean Spears, who was Ty Dillinger at the time. Look, all those young men sitting in a room with them, their passion, their excitement, their desire to be better, again, was just hard not to love. And look, they're the reason that I came back and fell back in love, with sports entertainment, with this line of work, and especially, again, as you've heard, everyone has numerous times, in NXT at the performance centers, where it's still pure, where it's still all the reasons we get into it before it becomes business and money and negotiations and things of that nature. That's why I came back. So yeah, it is, to fast forward to your question. It is, I miss them, but one of the things I always at least try to instill on all of them, or to say that your happiness, your contentment, your peace is the most important thing to me. And I guess that's the thing, because I learned that, again, whether mine all happened in the WWE, but when everything was said and done, that's why I think the leaving and the walking away was so much easier for me than it was for everybody else. Is that, again, I had done what I got, all the answers to the questions that I had coming into this line of work. And as long as they're at peace with that, that's cool. And at the very least, as I tell them, if you're not going to be at peace with it, at least have a big bank account.
Exactly.
At least it makes you feel better a little bit. So I do. I miss them, but I'm very happy for them, because again, it's more than just. Some things have got to be real life, and that's one of the things that Hunter and I, we love this stuff. But the same thing, our real lives take precedence over everything else. And it's the same with, whether it's Johnny, Adam, Kyle, and whomever else, he's now Malachi, but Alistair, all of those guys. I want them to be happy. Do I miss them? Yes. Would I prefer they be with us? Absolutely. But again, you're getting the opportunity to establish new relationships with Bron and Tony, the Creed brothers. Carmelo, and Trick have just been a joy to work with. Again, Gigi and JC, I absolutely adore. So again, it's an ever evolving thing, and that's what this job is. But it doesn't mean you can't still have, good relationships in the meantime.
Shawn, so I know we have 2 minutes left, so I do want to ask you really quickly, just, what are your, hopes for NXT 2.0 in this 2022 coming year?
Well, look, I think we're already getting there, and it is now the fan base all understanding. Now you're connecting. Now they're not brand new. You enjoy Tony. You enjoy Bron. You understand, Toxic Attraction. You're still trying to figure out what's going on with Gacy. So you're starting to become invested, and that's, again, because that's our job. Is, again, we have to, at one time, we have to balance development with also doing a live television show where, again, from a business standpoint, you have to draw ratings and things of that nature. But the first thing we have to do is get you at home, the viewer, to care about these men and women. And we're finally getting 10 weeks, 12 weeks in to where that's starting to happen. And it was very tough when you're starting from zero. It isn't a guy I knew from ROH. It isn't a guy I knew from wherever. These are brand new men and women. You've never seen them. You don't know them. So we're now getting to the point where you start to know who they are. You're understanding it. And that's what we want. We want that New Year's Eve for all of that to sort of culminate. And now at least you understand everybody and continue to be the NXT that we've been. Good, awesome, fantastic matches, but with people that you understand, a little bit larger than life, and a little bit more color is all.
Exactly. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I feel like we can talk forever. I really appreciate you, though, taking the time to do this interview with me. Guys, I want to thank everybody for watching. Do not forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to be posting all of the links in the description box below where you guys can follow Shawn Michaels, watch NXT, and make sure to check out New Year's Evil. Until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Shawn Michaels, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Denise.